you're not there to make someone feel better, but to make them better at feeling. Gabor Mate says this.
I feel like I want to share a story, and I think I've shared this at another episode, but you know, it rings so true to this quote. A man was working with a therapist, and their therapist recommended that he would go on a retreat so he can feel better. And he went to the retreat, and after some time he came back and he told the therapist, you know, I was there and I started feeling anger and frustration and grief came up and all these feelings, and you know, you told me I'm going to feel better. And the therapist sat there for a bit and he said, well, you are feeling better. And the idea here is that all these emotions and all these feelings were bottled up in that person before he went on the retreat. And when he did, with the atmosphere of the retreat and the help and the support and the guidance, he was able to open up his heart and to start feeling. And the idea is not to stop feeling, and it's not to push away these feelings or not to have them. But the idea is to learn how to feel them and learn how to sit with them and to be with them. And I feel that this really speaks to this quote that if we speak of a child or a person, what is our role? You know, what is a person's role towards another human being? Is it to make them feel better or to have them feel better?
Mm-hmm.
To,
better
now get better at feeling. Thank you. Get better at feeling. And that's the idea. So if a child is not feeling better, is not feeling good, are we going to try and help him by fixing it? You know, have a cookie, go watch some TV or go play with a friend? Or is it sitting there to support them and creating the space so that they can get better at feeling and being with their emotions and being with these feelings, so they're not threatening for them and they're not too big and overwhelming for them, and then they can actually be with them.
Mm-hmm. I was the first time that I saw the quote, I thought, we shouldn't maybe use it because it's clearly for therapists rather, right? And then I thought, but it applies so well to parents, because this is, and I think it's a misunderstanding for many parents that they need to help their kids feel better or to feel good all the time. And this is not it. It's also not to have them feel bad by doing something, but actually as our role as parents is to allow our kids to feel and to feel whatever comes up. And whenever in my sessions I go with the client and I go backwards to the inner child and we sit there next to that child, where the adult goes and sits there next to I don't know, their 4-year-old inner child, for instance, I always tell them, just go as close as they allow you to. There is always an allowing kids to tell us how much they can bear. And then it's, can you allow them to feel sad? Can you allow them to cry? Can you allow them to be angry, to feel angry? Can you allow them to express their anger? Can you allow, this is the question that I feel it's so powerful whenever we go back, for instance, and we address our inner child also. And this is valid also for the children that we have in front of us. Can we allow them to feel the sadness without trying to make it better, without blaming them, without judging them, without feeling our own discomfort, but in full presence? Because if we are not there, then they are not able to feel it because it's too powerful, too strong, too painful for the child. So can we just be next to our children and allow them to get better at feeling, right? Because they learn to feel their sadness, to feel their anger, to feel their happiness also. And then they go away, as we know, because emotions come and go.
I think, at face value, the quote might seem selfish, or, you know, not caring or not compassionate, because there's this idea, like you said, that a parent needs to, you know, make a child feel better. So if you're not making a child feel better, then you're not doing your role. You're not caring for your child. You're not giving them. You're not doing this for them. So you know, at face value, it might seem like it's a selfish quote, but if we are to look deeper, it's actually extremely empowering, because from one side, it's a very tall order to put on a parent that their child's, you know, happiness is their responsibility, or how they feel is their responsibility. For starters, that's, you know, not possible, and it's also very difficult. So that's one side. And then from the other side, the quote might seem selfish or not compassionate when we're to say that the child needs to go to get better at feeling, but it's also very empowering and such a gift to give a child, to have them learn how to feel. Such a gift to give the child, that they are not overwhelmed by these feelings. Today there's so many mechanisms to numb feelings, from screens to food to shopping to alcohol to drugs to medication, to numb out feelings, because a person is not able to feel, is too overwhelmed to feel, so they need to suppress this or divert it. Imagine giving your child the gift of being able to feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and why would you do that, right? Why do they need to feel? They can just move on. And why? And I would answer here, because this is the process of maturation. This is the way they grow up. And when you allow them to feel, then it's like you help them write a map for their own body and their own life. It's a map that they can use for their whole lifetime. It's like, oh, sadness feels like this in my body, and anger feels like this in my body. And then they are able to navigate through life and through whatever happens and comes to them, instead of numbing out, as you were talking about. So why should we do that? Because we help them grow up, actually. It's a maturation process, and part of this maturation process is at first to experience, to feel, and then to start naming, and that's how we reach the self-control that we want so much. But they cannot do that. You cannot manage something that you don't know, and you can only manage when you deeply know something, right? And for that, they need to feel, then to help them name, and this is how we reach controlling, self-control and self-regulation.
You know, you also asked, Anca, so why do we do this? You know, why not just move on? And I really appreciate what you shared about, you know, their development and their maturation. And also I feel that we cannot tell our heart what to feel and what not to feel. So for a person to live fully from their heart and to experience all the beauty of life and to really experience happiness and joy and excitement, they also need to fully experience sadness and upset and anger, and to have that full range of emotions. You can't open your heart to some and not the other. So that's another reason to be able to, you know, to have them feel fully.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.